Hey everyone, welcome back to another video. So today I'm going to be showing you how I made a dice tower. It's made out of epoxy sculpt and painted using acrylics. You might be wondering why a dice tower. Well, I know a couple people who own a card shop and with tabletop card games. Usually they use dice, especially at the beginning, to help determine who goes first, at least just to get the game started. And every once in a while there might be a game or so that requires dice throughout the game. So I've seen people use dice towers to help with rolling, and I thought I'd try my hand at it and see if I could make one. Anyways, this will be a step-by-step process of how I made the dice tower. So let's go ahead and get right to it, and I hope you enjoy the video. Starting things off, I use a Pringle can as well as some monster clay to help keep the general shape as well as keeping the dice tower straight. I then put on the epoxy sculpt, in which case right after I sculpted it, or I should say I detailed it using a crumpled up piece of foil paper just to kind of get that sort of rocky looking texture, because I was trying to go for a little bit of a tower, like a castle tower. And so I kind of wanted to get the sort of rock look to it. I then cut it in half so I could take it apart, and I put little steps in between so that I could have when the dice rolls in the tower, it hits the steps and thus creates a more randomized numbering, especially for like the more simple four-sided dice. I then made the base as well as where the dice would then roll onto, and put a layer around it so that the dice doesn't fly out of that spot, thus keeping it there when it rolls onto the base. Once I finish sculpting and tidying it up, I then move on to the painting process. I begin with a layer of black paint just to give it an even coat and something to work with. Then I go from dry brushing gray paint on to give it that sort of rocky look. And I just keep dry brushing light layers of gray, and just till I get to the coloration that I like. that's done, I give it a finish so that I could seal the paint and protect it. And that's basically about it. The sculpture is finished. It's all painted up, and there's a clear UV varnish on it. So that about wraps it up. And here I show you how the dice tower works. Simply put, I just, you can see the hole right there. Just toss a little dice in there, and it's supposed to roll inside because of the little steps I put, and come out with your dice side. And I'm just gonna show you kind of a couple different sort of dice. It's not perfect. It's just some roughly shaped dice that I put together. So you have a square, a larger square, and a circle. I just throw in each just to give you an idea, just like the randomization. I didn't really think it through though, but I did put a notch on the bigger square just to show that you can barely see it. The notch does end up on different sides, so it does kind of work. And here you can see the ball, which I guess there's no really way to tell with the ball since I didn't really put notches or anything. So still it's something that works. I saw it online and I thought it'd be cool, and I think for the most part I got it to function pretty well. That about wraps up the video. Again, it's just more of a short and sweet video. I just want to get something out there. And yeah, I'm curious what y'all think. I know it doesn't look perfect. It's very roughly shaped in a lot of places. This is more of an idea I wanted to try out and see how it turned out. And I definitely could improve on making it look better. I've actually thought about using Blender to try and maybe put something together, maybe see if I can make something that looks a little more neater and nicer looking. But that's just kind of an idea I had. No real plans there just yet. But either way, I hope y'all enjoyed. If y'all want to check out pictures of this or any of my other sculptures, you can check out my Instagram page, geo_sculpts. That's where I post all my pictures of all my art and stuff like that. And I really appreciate y'all for watching. I hope you have a great day. Bye.